Here's an interesting fact for you. 25% of the people living here in America were born between 1980 and 2000, and they are 83 million strong. And those millennials, or Generation Y, are more diverse than any other group, according to a recent survey by Merrill Lynch when it comes to things like ethnicity, religion, even income. Local CPA Phil Umansky is here to talk about millennials and money. Good morning, Phil. Good to see you again.
Good morning, Cheryl. Glad to be here.
These millennials, let's talk about them first. That's an interesting age range. That's about 17 to 37. That's almost a generation within itself.
It is almost a generation. And typically a generation is about 20 years. And a generation is really reflective of sort of the environment that they grew up in. So a lot of them know about 9/11. Of course, a lot of them know about the stock market collapse and the housing collapse in 2008. So those sort of shape their views of many things, including, of course, money.
What's the mindset of this generation when it comes to money?
Okay, so the basic mindset is they do not take anything at face value. And just like all the information they get, it's either television or the internet. Now, we know the internet has a lot more information than we had when I was growing up.
I'd have been brilliant if they had internet when I was young.
I know. You could look up anything. So they really have a lot of financial information that they can get from the internet and also from television. So that's one of their mindsets. But they're also very independent. And they really want to be in the driver's seat when it comes to money. And they do have some challenges related to money, but they want to make their own decisions related to money.
So does that skew the way they view things like the workplace and also things like investments?
Absolutely. You know, with investments, we typically think of younger people as being more risky. And to some extent, you can take risk in your investments when you're young because you can invest in the stock market and ride out the highs and lows. But because they have experienced the 2008 crash, they're a little bit more conservative than what we would ordinarily think about in terms of money. Now, in terms of work, you know, I wish I was a baby, but I am a baby boy. I wish I was a millennial. Millennials do not like the traditional workplace of getting to a place at 8 o'clock and staying until 5. They want to be flexible with their work. And they're also not looking to, they don't want to revolve around money. They want to have interesting jobs. They want to have jobs that maybe have a social basis to them, helping somebody. So they're not driven like previous generations just to get the cars and the big houses and do that. They don't mind being wealthy if that's a result of doing an interesting job.
It's interesting. I heard a survey yesterday that said the #1 thing that on the millennial list of what they want to do when they grow up is to be a YouTube star.
Okay, so that's all right. So recognition, they love they love social media. They do like the recognition
and money that comes along with it. But that also would give them the independence that you talked about.
Absolutely. I was just at a conference last week, and this was CPAs, and a lot of them work at home. A lot of them like the flexibility of maybe working at night or working other hours. But they also want to have a good work-life balance. They don't see work as the end-all and be-all for them.
So we're not going to see this generation staying in a job 20, 25 years and retiring.
Absolutely. They want the flexibility to be able to move around. And to some extent, what we call that is the gig economy. And the economy is going that way anyway from the point of view of employers as well.
So they can find those jobs that they're looking for. And when it comes to this generation, they also love technology. And I was reading an interesting point that said that most of them don't even carry money anymore.
Absolutely. Technology is their end-all and be-all, and it's very helpful. Now, you might think, well, with technology, that's expensive. They want to get it smaller and less expensive, but they don't really care about the big fancy furniture. They want to be able to move very quickly. And the other thing that millennials love is green. They will buy things that are green and environmentally friendly.
Environmentally friendly, okay.
Yes.
Green's my favorite color, but you know, as you can see today.
You've got green on.
It attracts money, that's the thing. And you mentioned that they don't like the material things because they want the flexibility to move, and that goes hand in hand with jobs. They move jobs, and then we're seeing that they're not buying homes as much as the other generations.
Absolutely. They want the flexibility to be able to move. And also the interesting thing about millennials is the fact that they really spend money more on experiences. They love to travel, they love to eat out with their friends. They're not really looking to gain a lot of material possessions.
And you mentioned that they don't like brand loyalty. So a lot of this advertising is going out of their heads.
Absolutely. I mean, loyalty is like a two-way street. They're not necessarily loyal to their employers. If their employers are loyal to them, I'm sure that they would reciprocate. But in terms of brand loyalty, they'll look at something new or different. Unlike my mother, my mother used to always tied. You know, she would always get tied. It had to be tied. Now they're willing to look at different brands.
So what's the most important thing we need to know about millennials and money?
I would say in terms of millennials and money, they've got some definitely challenges. 50% of them in a survey thought they would never be able to retire. Well, that's a challenge. They've got a lot of student debt. They do want to save, but a lot of times they don't have the mechanisms to save because they don't have that much money coming in, and they've got to spend it for their needs and wants.
It's a whole new generation.
It is a whole new generation.
All right. Thank you, Phil. Some great insight today. Phil Umansky. And we'll post a link to more information on this topic on our show website by early this afternoon. Just go to WTVR.com/VTM.